our Facebook groups and all that other good stuff as well. What we're going to do now before we go to the next speaker is I kind of mentioned to you all at the beginning of this that we have cohorts. And so we're going to be celebrating a lot of the projects that these cohort attendees have done. Now, the people that are coming up, many of them are learning how to code or they're trying to get their first jobs in tech. So we're all going to try and like celebrate and kind of cheer them on for them showcasing what they're going to do. So I'm going to let Scott take over this portion of the talk and kind of introduce one of the first teams and the project that they kind of led out. Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Danny. So a quick synopsis of that so that we can keep rolling and stuff. The cohorts, we brought them on about a year or so ago, and the intention is to have about a 5-6 week period for a more experienced developer to kind of take some other people under their wing, work together, mainly geared towards people who are pretty new at the profession, or maybe they're trying to break into tech. It is not the same as like a hackathon, and it's not the same as a lot of other cohorts that you're expected to compete against each other, or you're expected to have like this big polished product. The entire purpose of this is for personal growth and for team growth, for you to grow your network, for you to grow your skills, for you to start working on making those pull requests, workflow, and other things that you're going to probably be doing with the team once you are able to break into tech. And so I know from personal experience, I participated in 3 of them, and they were wonderful in helping me prepare to break into my first tech gig a few months ago. So they come highly recommended from not only myself, but the rest of the FCC Dallas team. Our first team to present is going to be Jacob's team. I just asked him to unmute. He is one of our 3 team leads tonight. Chin and Christy will also be presenting after a couple of other presenters give their talks from the panel, and we'll kind of keep that same pattern going. But without further ado, this is Jacob.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay. Oh, I should probably shouldn't screen, huh? Go. All right. So we kept it pretty simple here. I was working with Mike and Sabina on this project. This cohort was about 5 weeks long, I believe. So I kind of strung together. So we had Sabina work on the front end. She worked on most of the HTML and CSS. I see I see some compliments in the chat for the colors and all that. We can thank Sabina for that. This project for her was just about, learning, getting used to HTML and CSS, as she was already pretty used to graphical design. So that's why this looks so good. So good job to Sabina there. And then up here, so the website is just a Halloween themed recipe search. So it starts you with some basic recipes here. Not all the styling is perfect yet, but it's just thrown together. So you can click on these items. It makes a fetch request to the Spoonacular API. And then we were using, this is where Mike came in. Mike created all of the caching for us. Due to, oh man, I'm tired. We had a very limited number of reads to the API. So Mike worked on the caching for us, so we could limit the amount of requests as much as possible here. We decided to use Svelte, which was interesting. Definitely, I think it was new for all of us here. So we ran into some interesting problems and some hacked together solutions. Let's see. But yeah, so for example, you can come to the search bar here, type in, we want some cake. Search the cake. You got these 10 results that popped up from it. Once you click on it, you can see all of the ingredients, what it should look like here, and then the list of instructions. Didn't get around to these. But yeah, overall, a pretty simple project just to get everybody used to a slightly different tech stack with Svelte, because none of us had any experience there. We used TypeScript in our Svelte and in the server files. And we used a little bit of Tailwind CSS as well. I think that about covers it. Let's see. So the images here, these are getting, I guess I can just show you. So this is the recipe card module. So when you get a fetch request here, oh. So we just got a URL from the API, which is how we were able to put all those images in. We just use that as the source. Yeah, Svelte has a lot of magic. It's interesting. It's got its pros and its cons, that's for sure. We didn't actually end up using really a database for this. We had caching involved in it, but pretty much everything just came from this Spoonacular API here. It was highly convenient. And the API is free. Caching. Yeah, and I think that's about it. There's not too much else to say on this, I don't think. Just a nice, fun little project with the other people to get used to Svelte and the new tech stack.
Others can't unmute themselves, so I'm sure they're silently clapping along as well. But absolutely, you killed it, Jacob. Congratulations. Let me ask you one question, and maybe you can give like a direct response to this. What was, when you were building this with your team, what was one problem that y'all solved that may have been a bit of a challenge for you to figure out?
Well, when it comes to, we had some pretty rough merge conflicts we ran into. So just that whole thing, getting that all sorted was pretty crazy. But besides that, the biggest problem we really faced in this was just the fact that we did not know what we were doing with Svelte. So there's some pretty hacky stuff in here. So for example, we started and created everything here in this layout file with the nav bar and everything else. And I realized later on, I couldn't find a way to get any data from the layout page to the this page here. So what I had to do was create a nav bar, and I basically just had to copy and paste the nav bar and just put it on top of the already rendered nav bar. It was there's some hacky stuff in here because we
Hey, you figured it out though. That's what matters.
it works, you know. That's number one.
Hey, I think almost all developers will tell you that we have had more than our few share of hacky moments. So the fact that you were able to figure it out, get something together, put it up there to show off, I think that's commendable to not just you, but your team. I think one thing that people will kind of tell you as well is most of us don't know it all, and we're figuring it out as we go. I can tell you right now, I am working on a code base where I'm literally searching around for things. And I'll tell you this, I shared this earlier. I literally worked on something yesterday. I used apparently the wrong API because they were similarly named, which is why I've always been kind of vocal about, hey, we should name things a very specific way. But this is a new team that I joined, and the API was very similar. And now I have to go redo a whole day's worth of work because I had no idea that there was a difference between something that said store details and store info. And so very, very similar, but you know what? I think that's part of it. We kind of stumble around, and the more comfortable you get with something and throw something together, I think that'll be fantastic. And I love this example that Alexa just gave. Me, a junior dev of 6 months, I have no idea if this will work. My senior dev of 20 years, I have no idea if this will work. And I will say one thing that I'll share as a good story. I remember my first week and my very first job in tech. I was completely over my head, didn't know what the hell to do. I walked over to a senior dev who's now retired, but phenomenal human being. And he said, I went up to him. He's got like over 25 years of experience. He's been at the company forever. He, you know, great human. And I go to him with this problem, said, I have no idea how to solve this. And he looked at it and he just started Googling in front of me. He said, I don't either, but let's figure this out together. And I think stuff like that kind of gave me my, you know, feeling of, I don't need to necessarily know it all, but I need to know that I have the confidence in my abilities to weather whatever storm comes and find out the answer that I'm looking for. And I think you did that just well here. So congratulations, Jacob.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. And I love all the support in the chat, y'all. Please share some love for Jacob and his team. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Without further ado, though, I will be bringing up our next speaker, Cass. Scott, you may have to give Cass the ability to unmute herself.
I looked for her on the in the room.
It's just Cass, K-A-S-S.
Yeah, maybe that's why.
Yeah, it threw me off too. I had to look.
Okay, yeah.
There we go.
Hey.
Jacob, if you can stop sharing your screen so that way she can share hers.
Yeah, I'm trying. My Zoom is not responding.
Awesome. Love that.
I think I'll just quit out.
Yeah, I think Scott should be able to take that down and re-give
Oh, I think I
permissions.
can. I can.
Oh, can you?
Sure. Yeah.
We'll override it.
Okay. Let's see. Oh no, I cannot. Lied.
Let's see. Scott, are you there?
Yes. Let me try turning it off and on. I'm still sure. Okay. Let's see.
Hey, Jacob, are you still here? You have a live event and things go perfect. Did you really have a live event? all are getting the resources that you need to really hit that next level. So I'll get those links. And in the meantime, I'm going to give the floor back to Scott for a moment so he can introduce the next team. And then from there, we're going to have 3 more speakers. We have Braden, who will be right after that. We have Ram, and then I'll be doing a talk on React error boundaries. So that'll be the final talk that we have for tonight. So Scott, are you there?
Yeah, so our next team lead is Chen. He's doing another project that should be really similar to the first one we saw. And then coming up later, our third team was actually a mobile app. So that'll be a little bit different from what we've seen tonight. But right now, let's get over to Chen.
Hey, everybody. We're Team B, and my name is Chen. We have Benjamin and Robbie. So we're going to present you another awesome Thanksgiving recipe project. Surprise, surprise, the same Thanksgiving recipe project. But I did run into some issue on my Next.js. My local server couldn't start. So Robbie, could you share us the screen for your the website so we can talk about it? Okay, so first we designed a Figma UI design just to give us a general idea of what the website will look like. So the whole idea is to make a simple and a warm color style to fit into the Thanksgiving, the theme. And I really want to toss into some ramen recipe styles, but unfortunately, I love ramen, but it's not very Thanksgiving-ish. So that part is kind of sucks. So, so we have a hero section with the slideshow that shows a few of the main recipes that automatically change the slide in 3 seconds on each slide. And then we add into popular category section too. I just give the user some ideas of how to choose what's the most popular recipes out there for Thanksgiving. And then we have a editor's choice. We included about 6 to 8 recipe cards for user to click on it. And we also connected to API to pull some database recipes into this. So, and also we have some options for users to click like or leave some comments. And then the next section will be the inbox, let users to subscribe for the most popular and the newest recipes from the database. And that's the general idea of the UI design. And we also did a similar one that's the mobile version too, but that one I don't think we finished the last part. It's still pretty responsive, but doesn't show like all the burger menu on the right side. But yeah, that's the general idea on the UI design. I designed the most part of the UI design, and Benjamin and Robbie, they took care of most of the heavy lifting on the front ending part. So yeah, this is the website we end up ahead with. As you can see, so the slideshow has about four images that's change every 3 seconds. Oh, I forgot to mention the stack we used. So we end up choosing the Next.js for frameworks. Styling, we chose Sass, which is a great opportunity for me because I'm still pretty new for web development. So it's a great chance for me to learn some Next.js, and that's pretty exciting. And I learned a lot during this process. And so we also included a slide bar onto the popular category section that you can slide left and right to show different categories. And the recipe card that's connected to the API that shows what is out. Well, I mean, honestly, these pictures aren't that great. I mean, these pictures pretty sucks for whatever the source is. But yes, that's the recipe card, and you also have a load more options to show more of the recipe cards. And yeah, it's just a pretty simple and interesting website, small project for us to learn more. I think Ben he has more experience on this side, so he gave us a lot of advice how to, for example, how to connect API and how to start the Next.js local server on your local machine and all that stuff. So yeah, it's a pretty fun project. Do you have anything what you want to add on, Robbie? I guess not. So yeah, that's our project.
You know, I gotta say, as someone who's rated God knows how many quote unquote beginner simple projects, number one, I hate that y'all saying simple, because it's a pretty impressive project regardless, and I think y'all should be giving yourselves a little bit more credit than that. Number two, I'll be completely honest with you, I suck at design, and there's no way my project would look like this. So I really want to applaud y'all for having not only a great design, but some of the functionality with like these sliders is pretty impressive. Like I'm really impressed by y'all. This was a great project. So
thank you, Danny.
You know, I'll ask you the same question that I asked Jacob before we go to the next speaker. Like, what was one problem that y'all solved that you were kind of stuck on, that you kind of figured out and progressed by?
I think the bigger problem is the communication, I guess. So so Robbie is he's in New York City actually. So we have like 1 hour time zone difference, and sometimes we just have hard time to agree at the certain hour to have a team meeting, and sometimes you know, life happened and we couldn't have a same meeting for like in 2 weeks. So I guess communication is the biggest issue here in this particular project. And also another issue is that we ran into some issue on the API side. I didn't do the API part of the job, so I guess Robbie can explain to you more about the API issue, but I'm not sure Robbie is here.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that I'll say, communication as a developer, very, very important trait, but just wait till you start working with developers in other countries. That becomes so fun. I can't tell you how many times my team's thing will go off at 2 o'clock in the morning because the India team is now working and they're making comments that I get to check at 9 o'clock in the morning. So communication, especially cross-functional teams, is definitely a skill that a lot of us have to work on. And I think, you know, you'll get there. But seriously, great job, both of y'all, your entire team. Massive congratulations. And without further ado, we'll go on to our next speaker.
Our team lead is Christy, and she had put out a message during signups asking if anyone wanted to do a mobile app, which we had not done in our cohorts before. And so Rob and myself obliged, looking to try out some new technologies and stuff. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to her, and she should be able to share screen, and that'll wrap up our presentations for the night.
Thank you, Scott. Let me get this shared. Everyone should be able to see that now. Right. We good? Okay. So we made a mobile app and we called it Eerie Errands. So the team was Rob, Scott, and myself, and really just a lot of learning for a mobile app. So very new to this. So our goal was really to bring more mobile app development to the FCC group. So we decided to put together a simple chore app for parents to assign tasks. And then the parents would have the sole account. So we were not going to try to do children accounts, just parent accounts to then, you know, create a list of their kids and then chores to assign. So then they could track what each kid was owed in terms of an allowance. So we did a Kotlin app, which is the latest and greatest for Android. And then Rob was the the big strength in the backend. He did a Spring Boot backend. Scott was working a lot on the XML layouts. And then we used Retrofit to connect to our Spring Boot backend and also had JWT tokens. So we did not get quite as far as we would like, but we do still have something to demo. I do think this is our first mobile app in a cohort, I'm pretty sure. We were able to succeed with user registration, so we can successfully verify that a user is added to the database and generate a token. So pretty much moving forward, we'd love to continue more mobile app projects and then, yeah, keep learning. So let me show this app here. So we have our special little icon here. We made our own launcher icon. Oh, oh. It was a little slow. You do see the app now, right? Okay, perfect. So we had our splash screen that shows while the app is loading. And then on here, it'll take you directly to the login screen. So if you have not logged in, I'm going to pull up our Postgres database. So right now we can show our table of users in the database. We just have 3 test users. So if we wanted to make another user account right now, so you saw that there was 3. Can do Joe, and then we added validation. So for all of these fields, we have a message down here saying that it's either not filled in or in the case of, say, like you need to confirm your email, please confirm the email, so it will not let you register that way. And then it is also the same thing for password. Don't confirm your password. And then if I have passwords that don't match, it will also let me know that. So I'm gonna get all right, so we are doing create account there. It's loading, and then that'll take us to the login screen. And now if we go here, we should see registration not successful. I don't know why that's coming up, but it was working. So should be able to log in. Okay. So if you log in, it'll take you to this home screen here. So it does work. We do have a JWT generated. It's getting logged down here somewhere. Let's see. I'm gonna try logging in with the other account. So we do have a lot of error messages popping up. Let us know at least if something's not happening. Okay, here we go. We have a token right here. So that's our next step, is to work with that. And then, like, you know, probably log the user out if it's been a certain amount of time or whatever. So, and then we've logging our credentials right here. And then I'm gonna, first of all, like, I guess, I wanted to let Rob also talk about the backend, because he built the backend, and not all of it we got to use in this app. So you don't really see everything that Rob did here, because he had like the child tables and everything. So we have like a child entity here, but I'll go ahead and let him take over. I think Rob's still muted.
So I'm a front-end engineer at work, but I really love the back end, and I've always wanted to get better at it. At work, we use Java with Spring Boot, but since we're using Kotlin on the front end with our Android app, I really wanted to use Kotlin, Spring Boot with Kotlin on the back end and experiment with that. So that was a lot of fun to do. It's a pretty simple CRUD API for the most part, with some authentication and then JWTs. But it was a great experience, and it helped me get a feel for some of the limitations in Kotlin with Spring Boot, as well as some of the really nice things too. So it's more productive, I felt like, with Kotlin, a lot less boilerplate. It's a more modern language, has some pretty cool functional influences. So for anyone who uses Spring Boot or uses Java, I would say check out Kotlin for sure. But it was really fun to set this up. It was a good chance to teach the rest of the team a little bit about Docker. So we use Docker for our Postgres database for local development. We use I think it's called Flyway for updating making changes to the table, right? So for writing our database scripts and things, and updating schemas, it was fun. There was a lot that went into it, and I felt like the back end was a really fun part of this project. So that's it.
All right, sorry about that. I couldn't unmute for a second there. And then I just want to say thanks to Scott, because he did a lot of these awesome designs, like the custom buttons, playing around with those, all of the spooky designs. We're really trying to go for the Halloween theme, so everyone was working on that fall theme. So he did all of that, custom, all of that. So working on that. And I don't see him on my screen, but if you'd like to see anything, Scott, go ahead. And he had never worked with Android before.
Yeah, sorry, I'm playing for the role of Jonathan tonight since we're having to record. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Trying out a new technology, completely new to me. I didn't even know Android Studio was a thing before we got started, but I am very thankful that I went ahead and jumped on with Rob and Christine. I think they did some really great work, and it was so nice to be on just such a positive team that were very encouraging in the trying out of these new technologies. And it really just like what I kind of kept to was not terribly difficult or anything. The timing was interesting since it started about the same time I got my first tech gigs, or not long afterwards. And so that was the only thing for me, was kind of having to find that balance of like new work and new career and trying this out. But yeah, I would definitely do it again. And just like we've been asking in the chat, I've seen a couple times, we'll be announcing before too long the new cohorts. I will say we're going to take a break for the holidays because we really have been pretty much rocking and rolling for, like I said, a year now. This was the 6th one, and we've had not much of a break in between each one, just a couple of weeks in between. So just to give our admin team a little bit of a break, and also just so that everyone can kind of enjoy their holidays. But when we come back, it will probably be in mid-January at the earliest, maybe even February, again, just to let everyone kind of start getting settled into the new year. And we will probably follow a very similar format. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the panel and the projects tonight. Again, this is very much just like a learning experience. The expectation is not like everybody has to finish a very polished product to put out here. It's for personal and team growth, and it serves a great purpose. It's It's super fun to be part of. It's great to work with new people and again grow that network and try challenge